The red ball drills have the unique ability to engage a variety of different staff members and participants at any given facility. And we can incorporate not just the security staff or staff at the venue, but also law enforcement who've been assigned to that venue and play a very significant role. What we discovered in red ball drills is that those two entities don't always communicate in the way that leads to the best process. When we were running a red ball drill at a major sporting event, this particular event, as many do, has an incident command. There's a representative from law enforcement and vendors who all sit together in the event that something happens. They're all there and can make decisions. So we walked into the incident command and pulled the ball on the lieutenant from local law enforcement and said, "Is this a good time?" And he said, "It is, as long as I can still do my job while we talk." And I said, "Yes, that's the whole point of the red ball drills. We can actually do this while you are operational." And I said, "Your scenario is that you get a call on your police radio indicating that there's an active shooter at the arena next to the stadium. Go." And he thinks for a second. He goes, "Honestly, I'm leaving." I said, "You're leaving?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm responding to the incident." I'm like, "Interesting. So when you leave, I'd assume that your cell phone is probably lit up and you're not answering anything." And he goes, "No, I'm busy. I'm responding." I'm like, "So how are all these people communicating with you as the incident commander?" And he goes, "Well, that's a great question." And he goes, "Phil, if I leave, you're the incident commander." And Phil goes, "Okay." And so I said, "Well, there clearly needs to be policy." He's like, "Yeah, no, we need to write this up as policy, and I'll talk to the security director for the venue so that we have it in place." And he goes, we've never talked about this before. That's the red ball drills, talking about process. And I said, "All right, so you're responding to scene. Would you say that every police officer in this stadium would respond next door?" And he goes, 100%. They would all respond next door. I don't know law enforcement, so tell me, is it okay to leave 50,000 people in a stadium if all the police officers are leaving to go to the venue next door? And he goes, "Oh, that's a big problem." I go, "Well, how do we solve that problem?" And he goes, "Thinking about this now, I would say we need at least 4 to 5 static posts that do not leave their post no matter what happens outside the stadium unless they literally see a shooter in front of them." And he goes, "But we have to brief these guys every time because you don't know who picks up the shift. So anybody who has that position needs to understand that that is static." And he goes, "I'm really glad we're having this conversation." I'm like, "Me too. I wouldn't know what to do in this, but that's great." So those guys are staying. You've assigned Phil or whoever's going to be, the next person who's an incident commander. Is there anything else we need to think about? He goes, "Well, actually, there's a couple things." And we spend another 30 minutes talking about process. And look, law enforcement trains continuously at these stadiums, but they don't discuss process in the way the red ball drills facilitate. And our ability to sit with the incident commander and sit with the incident command center and discuss process allowed us to develop better policies and procedures to deal with coinciding events. Not everything happens in your venue. Sometimes it happens next door. How are we dealing with that from a risk management perspective? That's how the red ball drills work.